All right, guys, we are back, and we've got TB here joining us. Welcome, TB.
Well, that was the second guest.
Second guest? No, you're round
That was
three,
the second
man.
guest.
No, it was
Oh, just the three of us?
John, come
yeah,
on.
yeah.
You wrote
Oh,
it
the
in
second guest. Oh, you know, so
Big dog, we don't want you to get any potential allies.
Yeah.
well,
Oh,
You
okay,
wrote
all
it
right.
in your
I
contract
had
that
it,
you
so-
wanted
Did
to
I
appear
scare them
alone.
off again?
no. Well, I was gonna have you on with Thorin, but then just the dirty looks would be they're too much for everybody.
Yeah, you thought that might be a terrible idea. We already have enough geopolitical problems
Well,
as it is. All right.
I've already had you guys on before, and it was not a pretty sight.
It did not go incredibly well,
It's
did
not
it?
a pretty sight.
Oh,
So,
Jesus.
kind of breaking it up. The schedule's kind of all everywhere now, guys. Red Eye's not going to be able to make it. Bad internet, so GG there, unfortunately. So we'll have TB on here for as long as he wants to come on. I think Nathanias will still be on right after you. But TB, wanna really talk about the Twitch topic, Amazon topic, or at least introduce it first with you guys. Oh, I'm loud. Sorry, guys. So yeah, this week, Emmett announced on the blog, the Twitch blog, that they're being bought by Amazon, which to some folks it came out of nowhere. I mean, we kind of heard it maybe the day before or 24 hours before.
Yeah,
that
it was about the day before, wasn't it? That there was a report on it, and then when people were
Then a
like, "Hang on a
rumor.
minute," and then suddenly they announced, like, "Oh, all right."
Yeah, so in some ways it seems like it just kind of they sniped it. Doesn't in the interview I watched the town hall interview with Emmett and Mike from Amazon, the VP of Games, with Wheat, and it didn't sound. I mean, it sounded like it was definitely on the table, and it wasn't something that just came out of nowhere. But how could such a high-profile potential buy from Google, just I guess get shot under be leapfrogged by Amazon, which is another huge company. That's kind of crazy to me.
There's a few possibilities. I mean, the most likely one that I've heard people bring up is the serious antitrust concerns of getting Google and Twitch into the same bed, and assuming that I would imagine that Google was in talks. I imagine they were certainly not the only group to be in talks. I'd like to know who the others were, because I don't think it was just Google and Amazon asking to buy Twitch. I have a feeling there were more involved there too, but we don't know who they are. And I think it's probably got something to do with that they didn't want to go through the rigmarole. There were already people saying, we need to talk to various federal agencies about this as an antitrust concern.
Yeah.
Because it is an effective monopoly. So we don't want that. And rightfully so, we didn't get it. Now we got Amazon picking it up, which makes a reasonable degree of sense. I can get on board with that.
I mean, Amazon might not do stuff with well, no, I guess you can't even say that anymore. I was gonna say Amazon might not do stuff with video delivery in particular, but that's not true. They have their entire Amazon Prime. They do video delivery. I don't know if it's like all of their own infrastructure if they rent stuff, but I mean, they also I imagine it must be their own. It must be, right? Because they have because they do. Amazon does a ton of stuff with like server hosting and whatnot too.
Dude, they're one of the leaders in cloud. Like a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't even realize it.
Delivery network is it is pretty ridiculously large. So
that might be super sick.
I remember, just from a architect standpoint, I remember looking at like AWS and E3 and just a lot, or S3 and a lot of their products like 6 years ago, like 7 years ago. And by far, they were one of the leaders. Like them and IBM and some of the others are leaders in the cloud space. So Amazon has a lot of technology that a lot of people don't realize. They think of them as the retailers and, that the retail is just the site and all that stuff. But they are a huge technology company too. And this is, this is potentially great for Twitch's backend. Actually, it could be better in some ways than Google. Obviously, Google has like YouTube and just a lot of space from a content standpoint, but architecturally, I bet you the Twitch guys are pretty happy. Some of those operations guys.
Yeah, when everything's falling around your ears every sodding day, it's nice to have a bit of big backup. Not that it helped them last night, but of course,
that's different.
If there's going to be any real integration, that hasn't happened yet. I imagine from a marketing standpoint, it makes a good amount of sense as well. I don't think it would be unreasonable to predict within the next couple of months affiliate Amazon marketing integration
that'd
into
be cool.
Twitch, because people are already doing affiliate stuff anyway, and it's a pretty cunning way to encourage people to try and sell products to their viewers on the stream, and Twitch and Amazon, being now the same company, get a cut of it, as opposed to right now where people are doing this affiliate stuff and Twitch is not seeing any of it. I would imagine that that's coming down the pipeline. I can't see it not happening.
I'm excited about the ad fill too. I mean, we have you have a large company with a large sales team, from the standpoint of ads and that sort of bit.
A lot of people don't know that Amazon actually does have a large ad network and has been building it up fairly rapidly. So compared to what Twitch was able to put out, it's huge. I would imagine that it will be beneficial to those who are streaming because they will be able to start selling those ads, putting them into the inventory, and that'll be good for streamers, especially lately, who've been, they've been resorting to donations and subs because CPM is dog shit, full rate is dog shit.
Yeah, Richard, you were gonna say something?
Well, no, it was just that it was reported, wasn't it, in the Wall Street Journal on the 24th that Amazon were looking to directly challenge Google, their dominance of the online advertising market. They announced that they had this new way of sort of delivering, online ads and stuff. And I've been talking to a few people since the Twitch buyout, and they're talking about how it synergizes better with Twitch because, for example, let's say you're watching a streamer and you want to know what his setup is, and Amazon happen to provide an ability to buy what he has, you can maybe have the ads a bit more targeted.
And even with what you're talking about, this ties in a little bit with what Totalbiscuit said. If you go visit my stream page, it's pretty much exactly that. If you go and look at my stream page, you can see the peripherals listed down there, and every link is just a link to the
the Amazon thing.
Amazon affiliate link.
Amazon affiliate link. Yeah.
Amazon affiliate links are sick because not only does it track if you've gone by that particular product, it locks you in.
About this.
Okay.
It's so good. I don't want everybody getting on it because of competition. No, I'm just fucking with you.
Everybody's gonna get on it soon
anyway. Business model to you and how you too can take part.
The way that
hey, what happened to the whole holistic approach, man?
Yeah, fuck off.
Hang on a minute.
The nice thing about the Amazon affiliate links is that not only do you get credit for what you buy, it's like for what you click on, but it's anything you buy. And the cookie, it stays active for like 3 days. So like, say you watch my stream and you're like, oh, what mouse is Destiny use? And you click the Amazon affiliate link and you're like, oh, okay, whatever. And then like 2 days later, you're signing up for classes and you have to buy like $1,000 in textbooks. I get like $70 for that textbook purchase just because the cookie is still active for that affiliate link. And like the affiliate linking is really lucrative. I think you're crazy if you're a big streamer and you're not part of the Amazon affiliate program, you're crazy. You absolutely have to be part of that. It's free money. It's easy. Anybody can use it. Like, yeah.
Very cool.
And it's better than G2A because they don't steal keys. So there's that.
What is G2A? Do you buy games through them and then you get a cut of it?
It's a third-party key reseller. They've been implicated several times by publishers in acquiring keys in an illegitimate manner. And the problem is it's also got a marketplace which allows people to buy and sell keys. A lot of them, they are either like ripped from the Humble Bundle, which is, that charity bundle, or were acquired illegitimately. And a lot of those sites also sell keys from other countries that are on a kind of lower tier in terms of the cost of games, where the piracy is so damn high that they've got to lower the price just to get people, a lot of the Baltic states and things like that. G2A does a lot of that, and they've been pushing a lot on game streamers lately to try and advertise through an affiliate link. And some people have got burned by G2A in their ilk, so you do want to watch out for third-party unauthorized key resellers. There's all sorts of nasty stuff that can go down there. So you're kind of taking a risk now if you buy from there. You might save some money, but just bear in mind you're also assuming the risk.
Yeah, definitely. So with the Amazon thing, do you think it's any better or worse for content producers? I mean, one of the things, obviously...
I think it's better than Google.
Yeah, exactly. Is it better than the YouTube Content ID, that whole system?
Well, I mean, anything that keeps us away from YouTube Content ID is probably good, but we have
but I think the system we've got now is here to stay. Amazon taking over, they're not about to just dump that and say, okay, guys, back to doing whatever you want. Like,
yeah, well...
I mean, that's something that's here to stay. I don't know how big of a difference that would be between here and Google. I mean, obviously, Content ID is Hitler, but the system that we have now is at, like Stalin tier levels, like it's approaching Hitler. I don't know how much worse it can get if we start, like doing live stuff. If Amazon can knock off that 30-second delay, whatever that cost-saving measure that Twitch implemented to make it so every stream, that would be fucking amazing. That's like that's like most people's number one complaints about Twitch right now. A lot of content streamers, that 30-second built-in delay is so agonizingly terrible.
I've personally never had a problem with it, mainly because the shows that I do, it's nice to have a little bit of delay because it lets me sort of catch up on things, like, say, running ads at the right time so they don't overlap. Although, fuck, if Twitch could actually respect the damn ad delay, that would be lovely. MLG TV shits all over them on that one. They really, really do. You press the button on MLG TV, it's like, Okay, what delay are you running? I'm going to calculate that into when the ads are run. Twitch is like, play them fucking immediately. Let's go. I was talking to motherfuckers.
That's true, actually.
And it's hard timing. Even if you're running with no delay and you hit the commercial button, you might still clip off like the last 20 seconds of what you're saying. 20 seconds.
Yeah.
That's why you have to have this.
That's like one of the biggest draws. Somebody was streaming on Hitbox or whatever, and I was helping him with that. He had like computer problems, and he was on Hitbox, and he would like, all right, like I'm looking at this, and like I typed something in chat, and he responded literally like within a second and a half, and I was like, holy fuck! Like if you're like a streamer and like communicating with your audience is a big thing, that no delay, it's worlds apart in difference. It's the difference between like sending a fucking like letter in the mail versus an email. It's so nice to have that instant response. There's a lot of people that stream that agree with me on that, or that have brought up like similar complaints that having that instant response is fucking key. I would almost give up, like if they told me like you can have that Destiny, but you have to restrict your stream to like 1500 kilobits per second. I would probably take that. I'd be like, all right, that's fine. I'll stream 720p. If I can have no delay, like I'll jump on it. Like it's that important. It's so nice.
It definitely caused problems for my Dota stream, I'll say that, because people are like, oh, you should do this. It's like, that happened 30 seconds ago. This is no longer relevant. It's like, you should have done this. You should do this in this fight.
Exactly.
Or, oh, I see this guy's coming down the lane for you. I'm like, I'm already like half through.
You're already dead.
It's really 30 seconds. It's not that bad for me.
It's
more like 15.
It's like anywhere from 15 to 45. It depends on the stream time of day. Yeah, it can be really bad.
Shit. Wow.
But on the flip side, I probably shouldn't be reading chat while I'm trying to focus on the game anyway.
Sure.
It kind of works for Hearthstone because your turns kind of last long enough. But for Dota 2, like, I read the chat to get kind of general advice, and people say, oh, the reason you shouldn't have bought this item is because this, and this. Like, I didn't know that. That's useful information. But then you got the people that's like, he's coming for you. Like, it's not a fucking pantomime theater. He's not behind me. He stabbed me in the back 30 seconds ago. I'm dead. Come on, this is of no help.
But I think it's interesting. I definitely think that in terms of the Amazon buyout rather than the Google one going ahead, and I definitely think Google were in the frame at one point. I don't think anyone's disputing that. But I think the content creators and the streamers are going to be the guys that win. I've got my concerns about the viewers and the community as to whether it's a win for them. But I think us guys, I think we're in a much better place. I think like some of the things that we've seen implemented, okay, we've now got the DMCA and all of that stuff and blah, blah, blah. And we all know Steven's thoughts about that. I don't think that's a bad thing, but whatever. But I think there's going to be loads of good stuff coming in. We're definitely going to see a higher CPM. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think we're going to see better affiliate programs, better synergies in terms of selling and opportunities to make money. I think as well, Amazon will probably somehow look to link your what is effectively your Twitch profile somehow to an Amazon profile, and when you watch certain games, they can pitch certain products to you on your Amazon account. There'll be some sort of option like that. I think everybody's going to be able to make money and have a much more stable service, and I definitely think as well they'll address some of the issues like what we've just talked about with the chat delay. But I don't know how the community are going to feel about the service they're going to get. Like ultimately, this focus, it is obviously an ad delivery system first and foremost for Amazon. I think that's a fair comment.
Sure. I
don't know if maybe John disagrees with that. But...
Well, it's more than that.
I think it's part of it. Yeah, I definitely think it's part of it, because I saw a couple of people in the chat saying, why would Amazon want user-generated content thing? It's like, okay, well, why did Google want one? When they bought YouTube, you diversify your bonds, motherfuckers. That's what you do. You buy companies and you diversify your business. Google does fucking everything, and they're not even the biggest company that does fucking everything. Yeah. Samsung, I hope I'm right about this, makes fucking clothes. They have clothes shops. Do you even know that? No, you could get a Samsung fucking suit. Like, you diversify. And Amazon has got into game development in a big way. They have their own game development studios. They just acquired Double Helix, the guys that made Killer Instinct. Yeah. They have their own Amazon Fire TV, which also doubles as a games console now, and they're getting Android-based delivery to that. So they're trying. They have a phone So they're trying to do phone OS and phone content delivery and things like that. They're doing a lot, and these big tech companies are trying to diversify a great deal.
Well,
so Twitch is a good pickup for them.
When you have a brand, I mean, a lot of people have been talking about that, right? Just with Bezos and it's like Amazon's brand, and there are some other brands back in the day when Amazon was rising, like even eBay and stuff, right? That didn't do much with their brand, honestly. They just stayed in retail. Just eBay for the most part just stayed doing what they were doing. And Amazon, I feel like, was a little bit slow too to really just start moving their brand around and diversifying, like you said. But nowadays, there are definitely a lot of places. Yeah, definitely. They're not Google, but
it's like one of the most
pretty tough.
Basic things, like why people will tell you, like, if you've got like only 50,000 to invest or whatever, right? It sounds like a lot of money, but like you should probably just buy bonds or some kind of like funds. You should buy like group funds, like mutual funds, or other kinds of investments like that, instead of just buying stocks, because the more diverse you are, the more you survive, different things. As soon as something becomes unpopular, and that's where all of your eggs are, it's like, oh, well, no, I'm fucked, Whereas like Amazon or like Google especially, like Google is involved in so many things. One of the things that people don't point to sometimes is that Google has a lot of failed projects, right? For every like superstar they've got a ton of failed projects. Yeah. But that's good. Like if you're, as long as you're picking up like those golden eggs, out of all the failed projects, like it's a worthwhile investment to look around.
I'm pretty sure everyone remembers Google Plus. It's not like you have to go
Google Plus, Google Wave. Do you remember Google Buzz? Google Buzz?
Buzz too.
Google Plus isn't even something on the list because everybody knows about Google Plus. There's a ton of different random failed Google projects.
Complete failures.
Yeah, they're all crazy stuff. I remember. Yeah, just there are a lot of crazy projects. I mean, Google. The thing about Google is that they're kind of a research facility too. At the same time as doing all the things that they do.
They're like an big facility.
Yeah. No, but it's great. Amazon. That's going to be cool. And this is not just like an ad. This is an ad delivery system, guys. This is like Twitch is one of the leaders in streaming right now, guys. This is something that's new and sexy, and like a lot of companies would like to have bought Twitch, I believe. So $1 billion again, I feel like wasn't enough. I mean, obviously I don't know the numbers, but I still feel like
Twitch, I have no basis for comparison. I still
think it's going to be worth more than that. Like in the end,
that's more money than I have or have ever worked with, and I'm not an analyst, so no, I don't know.
So here's the question.
Totalbiscuit's barely made like 50-60 million off YouTube. I don't even know if he can even come in on the.
Yeah, it's not. It's not really close, is it?
All right. So here's the question: are all those Twitch guys we know and that we've known for a while, are all of the millionaires there or what? After this buyout.
They probably don't have any shares in the company, so probably not.
You'd have to know.
Oh, that's true.
You'd have to know. You'd have to know how the shares were distributed. You'd have to know investors that got paid back and what. Like, you'd have to know like the specifics of all that, which I don't.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, true.
If only there was a If only there was a journalist here who could figure that kind of information
out. Dude, I want to tell you guys, by the way, like I have never had more respect for Twitch than what I did when trying to break this story, because they're fucking airtight. No shit, like. I can get information on anyone and have consistently. Oh, dude, I couldn't get a leak out of Twitch. Like, they were all so well drilled, and fuck knows, I tapped everyone up. I was like tapping them up. I was getting them wasted and then tapping them up. I was doing everything. I was putting roofies in their drink and then getting them like, no, what about now? Are Google buying you now? Is this happening? And they all just said the same shit like every time, and it was just, we don't comment on rumors and speculation. That was it. That was the fucking party line, dude. And they rigidly stuck to it. And I tried people at all tiers of the business. And obviously, I've done work for Twitch, not in the too distant past. So it was incredible. I couldn't fucking leverage anybody to talk about this at all.
Even not as the co-host of popular web series Unfiltered.
No, I know, and I did try that. I was like, don't you fucking know who I am?
Do you know who I am?
And it didn't work, man. So, no.
They won't even put us on front. They're going to give you any information. This is like the only show of mine that they would never put on front.
Get front page.
Exactly.
But yeah. No, but I mean, serious. Like, so I thought they did a real good job of keeping it under wraps. I mean, one of the reasons it went under everyone's radar was that Twitch was so professional about this. Across the board, and probably is, I mean, maybe part of that is because internally people actually didn't know who was going to buy them until the 11th hour, and I've heard Facebook might have been involved as well. But still, I thought, fuck me, man. It was really hard to get information about what was going on, and a lot of it was purely speculative, unlike most instances where I absolutely know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, most instances.
Most is a pretty strong word there.
No, but yeah,
All
hopefully
right.
we'll see.
Just because you've got an ally, Stephen. Just because John's here to back you up.
Hey, I don't have a side. I'm my own little island. It's wonderful here.
Yeah, so we'll see how it ends up panning out. I think, again, I think
I like
it's going to be pretty cool.
There was a really funny immigrant floating around. I don't remember where it was. I don't have the link to it, but it was something like you must be an Amazon Prime member to watch this stream of Source.
That's right.
And then it's like, hey, you watched, Destiny Winter, blah, blah, blah. Maybe you would also like to check out links to other streams and shit. There's a pretty good. Somebody in chat has to have the link to it, but I don't have it.
I love how people's first reaction is.
If you'd like to purchase this sex aid.
I like how everybody's first reaction is, if I'm an Amazon Prime member, am I now a Turbo member and stuff like that? It's like, guys, who cares, man? Okay, let's move on to some StarCraft topics. Well, actually, first off, this is kind of in parallel with something that's about to start, but documentaries. So Richard's favorite subject here. So, well, first off, State of Play, guys, is going to be playing in, I think, in 30 minutes, too. So dual cast this show and State of Play at the time. You can watch that. But Star Nation, the 5-year documentary in the making is set to actually launch or to be released.
Wait, what?
This year.
When was this announced?
Yeah, it was on Reddit yesterday, and he posted on Facebook.
He's not quite dead.
Yeah. Did y'all see it? Yeah, they're not.
Yep, he claimed to. Yeah, and they showed an image of Naniwa's face and what appears to be it's a copy of Adobe Premiere, which is a legitimate video editing piece of software. So if you add the two together, that clearly indicates we will be getting a documentary.
So do we care, I guess, is the question.
Here's the thing, Chris, right? Nobody saw the interview I did with the guy. And it's
saw
on
it.
YouTube.
I watched it.
It's about...
I watched
It's about
it.
800... Yeah, no, because, right, he was on a motherfucking building site, working as a laborer, which I make of... Maybe Spielberg did some part-time laboring back in the day. I don't know. But, he was walking around with his mobile phone like this while he was, carrying 2x4s on one shoulder, doing an interview. And I've got no idea why I decided to put it out there. But he answered all the questions. And, he was saying on there, one of the issues has been sort of reaching out to Naniwa. He needs to in order to wrap it up. I'm guessing that's occurred now. But that was one of the stumbling blocks. And he also said...
the mission?
Well, no, I think in terms of completing the storyline, he needed some footage, and of course,
you need final thoughts from Naniwa to do it.
Yeah. So what happened was,
is there anything else we can blame Naniwa for?
No, and I don't want to do that. I definitely don't want to pin it on Johan at all. So, but apparently, what happened behind the scenes was, I know, I'm trying to be more diplomatic these days. Gem have insisted.
We're gonna have to pull caps on here soon.
No, I'm kidding. No, listen, right? So here's the thing. So Johan, apparently, when he retired, one of the things he said was, it's now irrelevant, your project get fucked or something. He wasn't interested in completing it. I don't even know if he was happy with the direction the documentary was going in. I think he saw some of the rushes and didn't really like it. So that was a hindrance. That was a massive hindrance to the project. And I even had Jason, the director of the documentary, reaching out to me to reach out to Johan, which is again, the most, that's going to work. He fucking deleted me too, dude. He deleted everybody when he quit, almost certainly. So it was a real weird situation. But he said this was always part of the plan to release it in 2015, get it on the the festival circuit, maybe get a distribution deal with one of the online distributors. I mean, so far it's gone according to plan. And actually, the information was out there if you cared about it. It wasn't quite a Sons of StarCraft deal. That's all I was going to add about it.
Yeah, they didn't centralize the info, though. That's the fucking worst thing about it. It's you have a Facebook page where you can talk about all of this stuff, and then you have 6-month gaps. There was the January the 1st post, the Happy New Year post, and then the June the 6th one, and then a couple of random things like, here's the 10 biggest myths in gaming. It's did this get taken over by a spammer? I mean, did Gorka Network just fucking purchase this? I mean, I don't know what's going on with that. And then now 18 hours ago, it says, we're definitely going to release it. But I don't think the relevance part even fucking matters, frankly. A lot of documentaries like this don't have current relevance necessarily, but they can still have value historically. Okay, we're going to see players who don't even play anymore. Right, I get that. That's fine, but frankly, I'd quite like to see where we came from and compare it to where we are now. That would be good.
For instance, yeah, I definitely agree with that. I talked extensively with Justin when he was doing this stuff like a year or two ago. I don't know, it's been so long, but one of the things that he would like always stress is that he said this is not a documentary that's being made for the StarCraft 2 community. He absolutely did not have this community in mind when he was making the documentary. The documentary is supposed to be something that can be watched from people completely outside of the community to kind of get involved in the story and follow the characters, and it's supposed to be just that, a documentary, not like this is currently what's happening, this is currently impacting. So like, there's going to be a lot of people saying things like, I've already seen negative comments about like, oh well, like I don't even care about these guys anymore, blah blah blah. Like that's kind of true, but it's not meant for you if you're just looking for like a show like what's currently going on in StarCraft 2. It's supposed to be like relatively historical with like finished storylines and like something that somebody completely outside of it can watch from start to finish and enjoy.
Yeah, I mean, like when we talked about it, he was, I mean, again, like he said exactly that it wasn't a community thing, and that he just wanted to make a story. I think it's even going to maybe have a name change. I don't know if he's still going to go ahead with that. Yeah, I think he was talking about because he felt Star Nation might be a little. I mean, I hope he's not going to fucking hate me for saying this, but I think he felt that Star Nation was a little bit isolationist in its title. Like if you weren't involved with StarCraft, maybe you didn't quite get it.
Sure.
So I think he was going to
agree with that.
Yeah, I don't either, but I think he felt maybe he'd done some test groups or some focus groups or something, because he is taking it really seriously. I had the pleasure to see a screener. Now, I know I also saw the screener for SOS, and it looked really good, since the StarCraft did look good in the screener, and then we all know what we got with the finished product. It was absolute garbage. But this screener looked really good, like polished, you know, and it wasn't short. It was quite long. I think it's going to be a very different prospect. I don't think it's going to satisfy the hardcore StarCraft community, but I think it's going to find an audience on, you know, like a Netflix or something like that.
Ultimately, it could end up being useful as a direct result of that if it has a more general appeal.
The one huge error that Star Nation has committed, and I hope they find a way to rectify this, is that these guys have captured, like, if you followed them around at any of the events, I wouldn't be surprised if he said, actually, I would bet money that they've captured hundreds of hours of footage from different gamers, from different interviews, from all the different people they've talked to multiple times that are never going to wind up in the interview, or never going to wind up in the documentary. All of the stuff is like really well produced. Like nothing was like captured on like shaky camcorders, and then like later they would get you. Like everything was well produced. They had all their cameras, all their lighting guys, the microphone set up. Justin asking really nice, really thought-provoking questions. There's so much good footage that they have that they're sitting on that if they were to just like dump it in mass, like on a torrent site or something, like people would eat that up. Or better yet, if they could find a way to like organize it and put it on YouTube, or you know, include it as extra somewhere. There's so much, like even like the few clips that have come out. I think there's one of like me running around at like some Texas Lone Star tournament. There's a couple others that they've.
I think they interviewed me at the same one actually.
Yeah, for sure, it's definitely possible. Yeah, and I mean, and I remember like I did a few interviews with them. The questions they asked seemed to be really good. The Justin guy was like really plugged into everything, and I'd seen them do interviews with other players. There's so much awesome content that they're sitting on that I hope they release someday, because man, like it would be really sick.
And of course,
just cut it into individual interviews and just release an archive effectively. Hell, you can even charge to give access to it for those who actually want kind of a deluxe edition or whatever. Why not?
Yeah.
And of course, the greatest esports documentary of all time is having its world premiere on the 29th, so tomorrow at this point.
Is it really? Okay, it's weird because I thought that was airing live in 28 minutes.
I thought it was like
it was called State of Play.
My God.
Oh, really?
Have we plugged it enough yet?
That's interesting.
Ben, you better be happy, man.
Because
that's not really true, because I mean the greatest esports documentary of all time was Smash Brothers, right?
Yeah. To be fair, well, until the 29th of August at 9 p.m. EDT.
Is that when they're doing the deluxe edition re-release?
No, they're releasing something called Die Noobs.
That's the worst title I've ever heard.
Die Noobs.
And the disparity between title and quality of the documentary is going to be huge, and I would urge everybody to tune in.
What game is it about?
It's about esports as a whole, about the industry for professional gamers. I've got a bit of a vested interest in this because I'm in it. So, but I don't think that constitutes conflict of interest because I've seen the screener that I'm not in, and it looks really good. So,
I mean, you just closed your conflict of interest, which is more than 95% of games journalists. So you're already better than them.
Oh boy!
Well, but actually, I'm gonna go have Zoe 6 for Zoe Quinn in
five
a
guys
second,
and Richard
so
Lewis.
it's my turn. I'm up to bat, so it's gonna be my turn. But no.
Well,
so
I mean, more importantly, when's the sequel to Liquid Rising coming out?
Well, that was
the
going to be
30-minute
film
the
that I was
30-minute
gonna
sequel.
make with Zoe Quinn. There was going to be some Liquid Rising in that one. But no,
Oh boy.
wow.
Oh,
But anyway,
shit.
check out Die Noob. Seriously, I think it's going to be good. Like Robert Ohlens in it. That's all you need to know. So I think it'll be
boy!
Cool.
All right, good stuff. Okay, let's see. What's the next topic? We're gonna talk about. Oh, okay. So let's talk about Axiom. You released not too long ago, Robert, and I know Richard, you were wanting to talk about this too, but you released that you lost 120,000. Basically from, from Axiom. Operations from Axiom standpoint.
Was that like gross expenses or was that a net?
That's gross. Yeah, I mean, I think I posted there. It was the average operating cost of the team before flights and hotel costs. That's not including the sponsor. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was. I actually can't remember the post. I'm going to be fucking honest with you. I was probably high, but I need to double check that.
This medical marijuana.
You can't get that shit in North Carolina. I'm afraid it's against Jesus or something. So can't have that.
All right. So the question is, future of Axiom, is it going to continue with obviously StarCraft 2? Are you going to expand it to anything else?
Definitely not going to expand it to anything else. Not in a million fucking years. I would prefer not being bankrupt. And frankly, StarCraft 2 is still a passion project and still a really great game that I love to support. And I don't want the hassle of any other game, really. The only thing I ever considered was maybe getting a Smash player at some point, or some kind of fighting game player. I actually prefer watching Street Fighter 4 than I do watching Smash. But I don't know. I think that if Axiom winds up eventually, I won't do anything else in terms of running an esports team or anything like that. That would be the one shot, I think.
Okay, so has it accomplished everything you wanted it to, so far?
Yeah. We won GSTL. I mean, that was pretty much what we aimed to. I would still like an individual championship at some point, something that was a big live event. We almost had it at DreamHack Bucharest.
Yeah.
We made a final, which was great. It would be nice to get a WCS title. Everything's very competitive right now, but ultimately we never went into it for the reason, to win a bunch of championships. We just wanted to support those guys and let them continue their pro gaming career, which, frankly, after Slayers went to shit and all sorts of other things going on, it was very likely that most of them wouldn't have. Alicia disappeared off the face of the map because he was retiring, basically.
Yeah.
And then we picked him up with Axiom for GSTL, and he started playing again. And he's earned good amount of money. He's earned more on Axiom than he did on Slayers, certainly. So it's trucking along nicely, really. We'll see how it goes in 2015. I know a lot of people said, "Hey, Pro League. Pro League would probably kill the team if we even thought about it." I mean, we've had long discussions about Pro League, and we've come to the conclusions most of our players just don't even want to play in it. A lot of people don't want to play in it because it locks you down to that particular country. You can't really leave. It's a week-on-week thing, and you don't really get that many opportunities to actually win prize money. If you win a round, you get some prize money. And in fact, a lot of the Kesper teams have had to put bonus incentives for their teams, like giving them bonuses for Pro League wins just to keep them enthused and focused on Pro League. Because they know that if they don't come in first, then the team gets nothing. Well, I think you get in for second as well, but it's a really tough environment, and it's a long tournament. And frankly, a lot of players just love to play in individual leagues. They want to travel to different places. They want to play in foreign tournaments, and a lot of these Kesper guys don't get to, and that really, really sucks for them.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Because who knows how long StarCraft 2 is going to still be around. They want to take the opportunities they can while they're still a pro gamer to visit these places. And for a lot of them, time is really running out because eventually they're going to have to go to the military. A lot of our guys are going to have to go to the military fairly soon. And I'm thankful that 2 of our guys have already done their military service.
Yeah.
But eventually I have to do that. And They want to go visit as many places and enjoy the culture and win a couple of tournaments whenever they can.
Yeah.
And a lot of these Kesper guys just don't get the opportunity to do it. So I don't know. I still think it's not good for our sponsors to do that. It's not good to lock our team down. Our team's too small anyway, so it's not as if we can even like spare a player. We'd have to ally with another team.
Yeah.
I've discussed the matter. It doesn't seem to make sense from a financial standpoint. And honestly, if you get locked into Pro League and StarCraft 2 goes to hell next year, then what the hell are you going to do? You know, you've just committed to a really long tournament. You've like rented the house for another year. You've put the key money down. You've set up new contracts. That you've locked your players in a contract for a year or whatever. You've made yourself legally liable. It doesn't make a lot of sense. That Pro League was built by Kesper for Kesper, and as a result, it's very effective for Kesper. It is a walking, talking advertisement for the 5 Kesper sponsors, to the point where Kesper sponsors have direct control over what tournaments their players are involved in and in the day-to-day running of the team. Can you name a foreign team that has to talk to their sponsors before they send a player to a tournament? Probably not.
No.
I don't know of any.
No, definitely not.
So, yeah, but what they've got set up there is fantastic for them. And frankly, even if the rest of StarCraft 2 dies, Pro League will probably still stand there, and Jin Air is probably still going to be happy throwing money at their team because it's all set up just really well for them.
Okay. All right. So why is it just purely like personal relationships with these specific players? Because I know, like in the particular case with like Crank and maybe like a few of the others, you have really tight relationship with these people or these players. But my question is, why not use like just say the 120,000 just like that number that I just kind of threw out there? Why not use it for like events and why some other way of helping the community?
Well, I mean that would require shutting the team down, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
And we've been running the team for 2 years, and I think there's a difference between, hey, we're going to help the community out for this event, but let's be honest, the community would be just fine without that event, and you don't have a job anymore, or a place to live. So I think once you're in with a team, you stick with it because you've got the livelihoods of people in your hands at that point, and you've got to keep it going. And frankly, yeah, of course we've built up relationships with these guys. Would I fire any one of them? No, I wouldn't. If one of my players gets into a slump, which plenty of them have, over the last 2 years, do I get rid of them? No, I don't. I want to try and help them out of it, if at all possible. And from a business standpoint, that's pretty dumb, frankly. Mm-hmm. You cut players that don't do well. You get new players. At this point, since we're not really competing in any kind of team leagues or whatever, we don't really have too much of a reason to get new players. It gets an extra practice partner in the house. Okay, well, I mean, there's other ways for us to get extra practice partners in the house that don't require paying another salary and putting someone on a roster of players to fly out and, drop $3,000 because they happen to be going to a tournament. We need to pay for flights and hotels and food budget and taxis and all sorts of shit like that. We don't have to do that. So
yeah,
we're just kind of happy trundling along the way that we are. We're making changes for next year. Absolutely. We think that we didn't necessarily do a great job in 2014 of getting enough players out to enough tournaments and getting almost like the distribution of who goes where right. And we're sorting out things like in-house rankings, and we're changing the way that a lot of the coaching works. And we've got some people have probably heard that True is staying in the Axiom house right now for his GSL run, because obviously he left his Casper team, so he's moved in with us for a while. And hopefully he'll get a good practice experience, and hopefully we can benefit from having another Zerg in the house as well. But yeah, there's ways to innovate, I think, that will make things better, and also ways to create good content that actually gives the sponsors value for money. GOG is very fucking happy with what we're doing at the moment. Really happy. Frankly, they're getting a bargain deal, and they know it. They fucking know it from what we're giving them. So yeah, it would be nice to get another sponsor of that size and, try to get to a point where we're sort of breaking even. Because, with 2015 and, all this medical shit going on, finances are in flux. America is quite the place when it comes to medicine.
Private insurance is not cheap, for sure.
It's not the insurance that's the problem. I have good private insurance. That doesn't make a fucking difference because they randomly decide what they want to charge you for, what they don't want to charge you for. I was able to get $30,000 of chemotherapy for $68, but my colonoscopy cost me like $800 for no good fucking reason.
Hey,
like,
I
wow,
know guys
literally
who
weird.
pay more
That's
than
pretty weird.
$8 to have a tube stuck up their ass. I can introduce you to them. We can go down to Soho tonight. We can make a fucking killing. But no, I wanted to ask you about this, right? So, like, you know, you said you were thinking about picking up Smash, right? Like maybe a Smash player. Have you thought about like any other games, like maybe team games? Like, I don't know, like really branching out and becoming like, rather than this labor of love you talk about, a legitimate
problem is that
organization.
Like, you're talking like a huge investment of time. I don't think any of it is worth it. Like, do team
money.
owners even make that much
Too.
money unless you're like top dog?
Well,
No, but this is what I mean. But
that means you need a minimum of 5 people, probably plus 1 sub, probably plus 1 coach. That's 7 people that you have to kind of pick up. With StarCraft, if we lose all but one of our players, we're still a valid StarCraft entity because we only actually need 1 player. It's the way CM Storm has been doing it. And frankly, I see a lot more of this happening in 2015. We're going to see, again, cuts in rosters. It would not surprise me in the next few weeks if you see cuts in rosters, frankly. I've heard some things. And it's going to come down to the idea that why the fuck would you have a 6+ player roster if they're not properly training together? It costs you a fortune. You're better off with 1 or 2 players without a house. I mean, hell, if we cut the house right now, if we got rid of the house, not only do we get all the key money back, which is a huge amount of money. For anyone that knows anything about the way that things work in Korea, you pay a massive deposit, an absolutely huge deposit on anything you rent. And, you know, if we got that back, that would be a massive cash injection. And I think that quite a few of these teams will cut back. I don't think, how could you not, really, in the current environment? How could you not? And you can still function just fine. CM Storm are doing well with just Polton Revival. That's all they need.
Yeah, I guess what I'm kind of wondering is like Axiom is a sort of brand. You know, it's like you say, for me, it's synonymous with StarCraft for obvious reasons and nothing else because it has StarCraft players and that's it. But all gaming organizations start sort of with one key set of players that build their name and then they effectively move into other games. You know, like even most recently, Cloud9 are staying very true to that tradition. And I don't know. I've always thought that on the one hand, I felt that because you did StarCraft 2 commentary, like you say, Axiom was almost a sensible extension of the requirement by you to be involved in StarCraft. But I didn't know whether it would ever become sort of a free-form organization, you know, in the same way that we see other gaming organizations grow. Like, would you really be open to a team game? Would you be open to having maybe 5 or 6 games under one umbrella organization, despite the costs? I'm pretty sure someone with your presence could cover it, surely.
I mean, I think that's maybe single-handedly also killing my main business. Like, Axiom is a huge drain on the business's finances, but we can sustain it. And we know that we're not going to go bankrupt as a result of that. The more you extend out, the more risk you end up assuming. And more to the point, a lot of time gets invested in something that's not your main money maker. And dealing with sponsors for Axiom over the past couple of years has made it abundantly clear that it's actually very difficult to break even. And the kind of things that you would have to do in order to break even would be also huge time investments. And I'm going to be honest, like, I actually don't want to deal with esports bullshit. I really don't. I stick around in StarCraft 2 because I love it. If I didn't love it, I'd have been out 2 fucking years ago, at least. Probably even before that. Because esports is bullshit. A lot of the people that work in esports are bullshit. The sheer amount of unprofessional, absolute nonsense, backstabbing, backroom bollocks that we see in esports is
here we go.
Frustrating, depressing, and annoying as shit. And
I did it. You know. I got him to say it. That was what I was going for with this question. Thank you, Joe.
There you go.
Thank you. No, but serious. Yeah, why would anyone want to run an organization, right?
I mean, are you so? Wow, that statement. Getting into the more interesting part of it. So when you're talking about a lot of those things, are you talking about from the standpoint of being a caster in the esports industry, or being more of an organizer? I mean, like what are some of those things you're talking about, like backstabbing and all that stuff?
There is, right, the way that a lot of teams operate. I mean, a lot of them operate in a flat-out illegal manner. We could start with that. We've got a lot of people that are using, say, independent contract laws and are abusing them completely completely. As the way that just to kind of break it down at a very basic level, the way that independent contractors work, particularly in the United States, is that you can give them a job, but you can't basically tell them how to do it. And as a direct result, a lot of the things that teams do when it comes to making a player do this and that are actually flat out illegal. You can't do that under. I mean, I'm not the first person to say this. Jenna actually said this time and time again when she was running the team. It's like, no, actually, under independent contractor law, you cannot do that. And a lot of that shit happens. A lot of players right now are running without a contract at all. You'd be shocked at how many players are running without any kind of contractual obligations or protection whatsoever. And occasionally it blows up. Occasionally you see it. But there's actually a lot of people who are still continuing to play and who are playing under no contract. So there's that. There's teams that will attempt to enforce ridiculous NDAs, illegal NDAs, on their staff and players. Richard knows exactly who I'm talking about there. And who will withhold money. There's been withheld money fucking everywhere. And then there's those that will arbitrarily change the amount that they pay a player without the contract actually having the legal stipulation to allow them to do that. That also happens. That's a small example of some of the bullshit that goes on in esports, and that's just StarCraft 2. I can't fucking wait to hear. Actually, I don't want to hear what happens in the other esports. I would like to be relaxed and not blow my fucking gasket over some of the bullshit that happens.
Here's the thing, though, John.
It's depressing.
You'd be greeted like a fucking messiah in some scenes. Like if Axiom were to pick up a CS:GO team, for example, and I'm just putting this out there because it's like my game, But seriously, like, okay, so when I was at I was at a number of CS:GO events recently, and big Call of Duty organizations were like Call of Duty console were like saying, oh, we're interested in CS:GO. Other organizations that hadn't traditionally been associated with CS:GO were like, maybe now's the time. Like, they're a scene that needs big, respectable, reputable, and ethical organizations like Axiom to come in and kind of pull them up by the bootstraps instead of letting the organizations we've got, the de facto organizations, effectively exploit these young players. It's tragic.
I mean, which sucks, but I'm not your fucking Batman. Like,
no, and I know that.
This is especially true in like my main job. I don't want to be that guy. And when it comes to CS:GO, I would quite literally be jumping on the bandwagon because my interest in CS:GO goes as far as playing Arsenal mode, or whatever they call it now. Was it? Or is it called Arms Race now? I can't remember what the fuck it's called. I am a fucking god at gun game. I am a machine. But everything else, now I tune in every now and again. I watch a little bit of it. I'm not really all that interested in it. If I was jumping into it, it would be for purely business reasons. And frankly, I've got another business that is far more successful that I'd rather continue to push at this point. I think there's quite a few organizations that have a similar opinion.
Oh, 4 hour limit. Restart your video. All right. Restart your video.
Turn that shit back on.
Yeah,
turn that shit back on.
4 hours, guys. 4 hours.
Why does Skype even still have that limit? We got fucked by this yesterday on the Co-optional podcast. I don't know what the hell's going on with that.
But I don't know. So I mean, what's the end game for Axiom, dude? Like, where does it go? Because
we end. That's
Steven restart.
Yes, all our players either go to other teams or retire. That's kind of the end game. I don't have a specific goal outside of that. As I said, it would be nice to win a WCS this year. I think Hart is playing good enough if he gets the right bracket. I think he could have won. In fact, actually, no, he could have won fucking last time because he crushed Pig Baby when he played him in WCS. He fucking murdered him. And then he ran into Bomber, who frankly has better TVT than Hart. He got whacked by Bomber in a very entertaining series. And then Bomber got killed by Pig Baby. But that happens in tournaments, It's not like, this was my tournament. If only I didn't get bracket screwed. Welcome to tournaments. You've got to be able to beat anyone that comes your fucking way. And if you can't do that, then, hey, you didn't deserve to be champion that day. And that's just how it goes. But I know Hart is working really, really hard at the moment, and it'll be interesting to see his group because it's all Terran, so I don't know how the hell that's going to go. But at least we know what to train for, right?
Yeah.
So that's not too bad. But we'll keep trucking along. I think the end game, though, is just to make it sustainable, without being a massive drain on the company. That seems like the best way to go. I think it was always, can we really make this thing run in the black? Is that actually possible while still paying people reasonably fairly. Can that be done? I still think it can, but that was also a goal we set in 2012, and StarCraft 2 has shrunk since then. So we might even be having to wait on Legacy of the Void and some of this other stuff. The Game Heart stuff, incredibly positive. That to me represents a bit of a shift in the right direction there for Blizzard. I'm very glad they did that, and I hope to see a lot more of it. What I've heard from people in Blizzard is that they seem much more open to that kind of stuff. Let's see. Let's see what happens. And I'm
just worried, like, and I'll tell you why I'm worried. I know, like, it would suck, because one of the great things about Axiom have been like the refreshing, the refreshing transparency, B, the loyalty to the players, and it's like that's the kind of organization I want to see expand, not contract. And it just, I don't know. There's also the sort of C, the kind of little thing, like maybe if Axiom are this massive drain of resources and the players say, you know